Hi everyone, welcome back. I told you in the last video that I was going to do a tutorial on how to make a tag similar to this tag that I created and added recipe on the back, embellished with lace. I told you I would let you know how to do it with some of the designs that I'm gonna have available through Etsy. You can also just make a tag out of anything that you have around the house. The possibilities with junk journaling are endless. You're gonna need scissors, some lace, maybe twine, just different things to embellish your tag that you want to use. I'm going to use this eyelet tool that I actually purchased. I think I got this at Harbor Freight, which is not a craft store, but they did have this. And it comes with this tool and different color eyelets as well. And glue, you'll need some glue. I've got some tape here. I'm not sure if I'm going to use the tape. I've got some distress ink and these little daubers, or you can use paintbrushes, you can use sponges, whatever you can find that you can lay some ink down on the edges to make it look distressed. Then if that's the look you're going for, if not, then you could leave it not distressed or ink it. So the first thing I did is I went ahead and I cut out the tag that I'm going to use. I cut out one of these, and I'm also going to probably cut out a card as well, because I'm not sure, maybe even one of these to make a tag, because I'm not sure how well the recipe is going to fit on this tag. This one may not fit a recipe on the back, but I can still embellish the tag, and I'm going to show you how I did that. So first thing, I cut some lace. Just did not really measure it. I just cut it off there. That's the great thing about junk journaling, is you don't have to worry about things being perfect. That's what I love about junk journaling. Oh, and I actually am very self-conscious about my hands. I have a really rare form of arthritis that is actually deforming the joints in my hands. I'm actually losing mobility in some of my joints entirely. I have a lot of upcoming appointments and a lot of talk about new drugs, of course, anti-inflammatories, but anyway, enough chit chat, but also immune suppressant drugs, all that's scary new territory for me. The immune suppressants, I'm not even thinking. So back to crafting, we are going to attach the lace, and I'm just going to actually make a little hole into my lace with the scissors here. That way I can attach the lace while I'm using the eyelet. And the reason I started talking about the arthritis is because this tool is actually very painful for me to use, because I really don't have the grip strength to use this tool. So I punched a hole, and I made a hole in the lace as well, and I'm just going to put that on top. I'm going to try to center up my eyelet and try to get everything lined up where I made that hole, into the lace and where I made it into that eyelet as well. And then take my tool, my eyelet tool, and mash it. I'm sure there's a crimp it is probably the proper usage, but you crimp it. And I apologize, this will actually probably take a second. I may have to pause the video and come back. Okay, I'm back, and with Magic Editing, I have now attached the lace and the eyelet, and you will probably hear my daughter in the background. She is almost 6 months old, but she was born 3 months premature, so she's developmentally at the age of a 3-month-old right now. So she's making a lot of babbling and different things. She's having a good time in her bouncy seat over there. So if you hear her, that grunting noise, that's my daughter. Okay, so the next thing I did was I looked to try to find a recipe to put on the back of the tag. So I don't think that I'm going to be able to fit one of these on the back of this tag. Easily remedied. I want to add, I think, this strawberry image right here. And this is really cute image, and this is some local strawberries and Cooley's. They are the biggest strawberry producer in our area here of in the upstate of the Carolinas. So I believe I want to add that image on the back of here. So like I said, with junk journaling things, even if what you intended to do doesn't work out, you can always do something different. And I am just going to cut this out, and I'm going to see how I want to line this up on the back to get it. And I think this is going to be, okay, sorry about that. Had to take a little break. My daughter, she was getting a little fussy, and also noticed that I had not attached the other piece of lace onto the back of the tag. I went ahead and attached that the same way I did the front. I'm now going to probably just line up where I want this image to go on the back of this tag. And I'm going to fold it. That way I know where I need to cut or tear. I'll probably tear this. That way my edges can be a little distressed. But this way I know where, that way I don't take away too much of the image that I want to add on the back. So, like I said, I'm going to, not cut it, I'm just going to take and gently roughen up the edges by tearing it. And if I need to take off more, I will do that as well. Let's see. Actually, I think I may want to take the lace off. Yes, I'm taking that lace off until after I get this image. And if you were able to see, I was able to remove that lace very easily because I had not tied anything else onto it, had not attached it with any glue or anything. I like to do the permanent things at the very end of the project. So what I did just then was I took the image and I just pressed down on it and worked it into this eyelet. That way all of the back of the tag is covered. I'm going to, now I will use glue and attach this image onto the back here. I'm probably going to just go ahead and straighten up the edges a little bit. I'm just going to do that by tearing it here. And I'm going to just, my hand is actually getting stuck in place again. What I'm going to do, when I say my hand, I meant my thumb joint. I'm going to glue this is just tacky glue. You can use tacky glue, glue stick, whatever you have on hand. You don't want to use a lot of it because it could disturb your image, and you don't want to mess up the image by adding too much glue. Of course, I allowed my glue to dry out, so I'm going to have to repair that off camera. We'll be right back. Okay, in case you guys want to see what happens to your glue if you don't put the top on properly, I was able to pry the top off and there's a bunch of sticky, gooey mess. So I'm just going to remove that. I'm going to remove this sticky mess that's down in here. I think I'm going to actually use my scissors. Everything becomes a craft tool. You never know. You don't need special tools. But I'm just going to work that glue out of there. I just thought this might be helpful to some people who, you know, never throw your glue away. Even if you think that, hey, I'm not going to be able to fix that. Well, most of the time, you can fix it, just with a little extra work. Hopefully this is not going to be too much of a problem to remove. If I can just get enough of it out to, but this is valuable lessons. You learn valuable things. So, I'm just using a paintbrush now. Okay. Whoops. It went flying. I think we're almost there. I was able to remove more. Okay, I think we're almost there. I'm going to take the needle, it's just a sewing pin, and wedge it down in there to see how much more I can get out. If I had something small enough to go through the, whoops, that wasn't supposed to happen. You never know. what's gonna happen when you're crafting. Okay, I think that is good enough. And we're going to be able to get out just enough glue, I hope, so we can complete this. So I'm just going to add well, actually, what I'm going to do, because I did not think that my hands were going to play a factor into pressing the glue out, but actually I'm having a hard time with that as well. So I haven't been able to craft much at all recently because of this disabling arthritis. But what I'm going to do is adapt, and I'm going to attach this with glue. I'm just going to put the tacky glue on the paintbrush, and I actually do not want to get that on there. So you're just going to apply the glue. And like I said, you don't need a lot of glue at all because you don't want to warp your image. So let's put that there. So we now have that image on the back, strawberries. And when you flip it over, you can see that there's some of that image there. That's left overhanging. I'm going to tear that and just distress it just by gently tearing the edges, and you can see that the image is now on there. But what we're going to do now is we're going to distress the corners of this to give it more of an aged look, because everything looks better with ink when you're junk journaling. At least that's my opinion. You can also, if you do not have these inks, you can use shoe polish. You can use a mixture of coffee grounds, just lightly mix with a little bit of water and a paintbrush, and just barely brush it onto the sides. But I'm going to be using, I really like the walnut stain or vintage photo. So I'm gonna decide. I think I'm going to go with the vintage photo. That's what I'm gonna use to distress the edges. Just take your brush and let's hope there's, if you can see that it adds age. And of course the lace is wanting to move around. You can also age the lace, that way it looks worn and aged as well to match your tag. Or you can wait until the very end of the project to do that. I do believe I'm probably going to have to finish this project at a later time because my phone battery, my camera battery that I'm filming, looks like it is dying. But we'll see how long I can go. So, just gonna ink the edges back here. I'm gonna take and roughen up the edges as well, just to give it more of a distressed look, so it doesn't look freshly cut. I mean, that's one of the biggest tips whenever you're junk journaling is distressing and inking. It can change things so much. And that's one thing that I wish I would have known sooner when I started junk journaling is that, you know, want it to look older, just ink it, distress it, tear it a little, roughen it up. And that's just my style. I like to roughen things up, make them look like a vintage replica. We can also, this image, I'm going to run over it with the ink as well. That went a little, that's really distressed. It looks really vintage now. So I'm probably going to do the lace as well. That way it doesn't look as glaring difference in it being white and something aged and not aged. Okay, so far this is what we have. And now we are going to go and add the lace to the back. Of course, I can't find the piece of lace that I had pre-cut. I had a piece of lace that was pre-cut. Let me see if I can find it. Another fun fact about me is that I have ADD. So my organizational skills are always a work in progress. Always. Okay, look, I found it. That's a miracle. I was able to find it. Okay, so I'm going to distress this one as well. I'm just going to use this piece of paper, which is more tags that I printed out. Use more of the vintage photo ink to distress this. Then what we need to do is add our embellishments, well, our ties to our tag. And I'm not going to glue the lace because I like the lace to move around. Totally up to you if you want to add glue to your lace to keep it more secure. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of this twine, and you can get this at Dollar Tree. And I'm not even really going to measure because I'm going to take it and work it through the eyelet. If you don't have an eyelet, you just punch a hole in it, and I'm going to tie a knot. And probably going to add some more lace as well. But I want to make sure that I'm probably going to add multiple different like lengths of this twine. That way you can, it just gives it more variety, or more of a unfinished look is not the word I'm going for, but more of the shabby chic look that I'm going for, actually, is what I meant to say. Sometimes the jute twine gets a little fiddly, and especially if you have problems, it can be kind of hard to run it through your eyelet or your hole here. So I think I may actually have to adapt a little bit and use a pen, a needle, sewing needle to push it through here. So I was able to push that. Now I can take my needle and work the twine through the eyelet here. So we can add, and as you can see, it's actually distressing it a little as well. So that gives it a more rustic look. I'm looking for a rustic, I'm going for that rustic look. I'm going to actually do some off-camera twineage. Not sure. I'm going to see if I can do this off camera. That way I do not bore you with this process. Okay, that was a little bit of a painful process, but it didn't take too long. I was just had to work it through the lace in the back as well, the twine. What I'm going to do now is the two pieces that I have going through the eyelet, I'm going to tie a knot on the back, and I'm going to tie a knot on the in front as well. So then you will have this rustic looking tag. What you'll do up here is you're going to want to create a knot. That way you have a knot in the end. That way you can hang your tag or place your tag, use it in your journal, however you want to. You can also add longer pieces. You can add beads. The possibilities are endless. Okay, so let me show you the completed item, the completed tag. Okay, here is the front of the tag, and here's the back of the tag. It's just a very simple, easy project. Thank you for crafting along with me, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.